Welcome back to Perfectly Claire. I'm your host, Doug Taylor, and today I'm joined by the radiant and insightful Susan Barry-Howland, a lifelong healer, intuitive medium, and founder of Angelic Synergy. With roots in both healthcare and holistic practice, Susan brings a grounded yet cosmic perspective to spiritual growth, helping people attune to angelic messages in their own soul's calling. Whether you're a seasoned intuitive or just awakening to your gifts, this episode offers a beautiful reminder. The universe is always speaking, and it's time to listen. Welcome, Susan, to our show. And we're going to get right into some things today. So getting to know Susan. So can you share with us what led you from your work in healthcare into the world of intuitive healing and angelic communication?
Sure. So it was kind of by accident. I kind of had gone through a rough spot where I was working, and the work wasn't really working out anymore with the healthcare field. And my dad became ill, and we were living in Calgary. So I ended up coming back to Ottawa to take care of him. And I just went home and said to my husband, I'm moving back to Ottawa. I don't know why. I just had this push. And I really wasn't that much into the spirit world yet. I think that was the big push to kind of get me to see that, hey, you know, there's more going on. So we both came back, and then I ended up taking an angel course. And I don't know, Doug, if you've ever heard of Stephen Thayer.
I have, yes.
So I took his healing angel class. And so it was a 3-part class that I took, and it was excellent, just wonderful. And the very last day of the class, the teacher kind of walked around the room, and I don't know what she did to this day. But at lunchtime, I walked up to her and kind of gave her a reading. And she goes, "How did you know that?" And I went, "I don't know." And so it was kind of an awakening moment, if you will, an aha moment, where I started working more with angels and learning more about them. And then I had the opportunity to work some psychic fairs with a wonderful lady named Bonnie, and she helped me out. And we just kind of the way it just moved forward very quickly from there. So
it's an amazing story.
Thank you. Yeah.
So. And where did the name Angelic Synergy, where did that name come from, and how does it reflect your mission?
Wow, that's it. I was sitting alone, and I said, "Okay, angels, what can I call my business?" And that's the name, exactly what they said. And I thought, wow, that's because I had been writing down a few things. That was the one that stuck. And so I just started working with that. And because if you think about angels, it's a synergy that they work with us, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So
yes.
I just kind of felt that was the perfect one for a business name.
Well, it seems to be working quite well for you.
Thank you.
You're very well traveled and well respected.
Thank you.
And I told we had a round table at our last episode that is going to be aired next week or so, that I had a surprise. And you were our surprise guest today regarding angels. So you've worked in both traditional and spiritual wellness spaces. How do those two worlds inform one another in your practice?
Well, I guess because I do a lot of readings, as you know, and I kind of just trust what the angels are saying. Number one, I feel that if I can trust anybody, it's them. I've always asked them for guidance. Even before we sat down today, it was kind of like, "Can you please help me?" And so when people are working, I ask them to listen, start paying attention. We all have 12. I always say that. People kind of look at me funny when I say that, but I kind of believe it's what we've been given from Source God, because the earth is so difficult.
So you mentioned 12 angels.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones do you feel are more powerful, and why?
I don't really feel that there's any more powerful, except I'm going to back up on that one, Doug, because Archangel Metatron is Source's right-hand angel, Source God. And I really, I've actually felt him. His energy is pretty powerful. It's been a very rare thing. I remember doing a reading for this lady, and she was going through a very, very difficult time. And all of a sudden, I just felt these huge wings around us. And I said, well, you might want to start paying attention to Archangel Metatron, because he seems to be here to help you. And his wingspan was bigger than the building. It was just, I don't know how to tell you that. It was just a feeling, just a sense. And so he helps people when they're really, really in need. And I feel that even in the healthcare field or any business of what people do, your work, if people can stop and maybe ask. Thing with angels, Doug, is that they cannot step in. It's a law of the universe until we ask. We are given a guardian angel.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
Yes, and that I believe I've mentioned it in a lot of readings and in our own episodes lately. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that's
please,
cool. That's perfect. I love it. So, but our guardian angel, they're kind of funny. Can I tell you a little story?
Please do. Yes.
Well, we used to have a little Shih Tzu, and his name was Lucky. And actually, we adopted him. And Lucky was blind, and he was I was in bed reading, and he was on the floor beside me. And I saw, because I see angels as like blue dots, almost like fireflies, but I also call them angels. Anyway, this little blue dot was on top of Lucky, and I said, "Oh, Lucky, you have an angel." And I went back to my book, and I saw the blue dot again. I said, "Lucky, you got this angel." And then I went back to my book, and the angel, the blue dot, landed on my book, and I went, "Oh, you're for me." And so she told me her name, and her name was Serafina. Because I, for years, had been asking her name, and I had not stopped long enough to say, "Hey, can you please come through when I'm quiet?" So that's when they come through, Dad. It's kind of interesting.
Angie, what do you have to ask Susan today?
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Angels are something that's always been so intriguing to me. Like my dad, I often do get some sort of connection to like a guardian angel, or when I was young, I saw a lot more angels. That was kind of like the foyer into seeing spirit, into experiencing mediumship, into experiencing energy. But it's something I started to kind of sense as I was going through your biography previously and hearing lots about you from my dad, and doing my own little bits of research, was there's this kind of overarching topic around listening to the universe. And I am very much someone that feels that we have to listen. We have to receive certain energies. We have to let things guide us in certain ways, and be open to that movement. But I would love to hear how, maybe what does that feel or look like in daily life specific to you, or maybe some of the different people that you've worked with.
Sure. Well, I'm going to give you another example. I always ask, because I talk to my angels every day. I kind of laugh. I think sometimes they must tune me out because I'm always asking them for guidance in so many ways. But actually, one of the things that's kind of cool is I'll ask them for a parking spot, and I get it every time.
That's amazing.
So I know it sounds weird, but they love us. Angels do not have free will, Angie. They come from Source God, because we really do need the help. And one of the things that I find that when you ask, they show up. They're I guess I want to say incredible. We have to just say, "Angels, please help me now," and they will help you. But we do have to ask that one time. There are exceptions for if, let's say, there's a car accident, and you feel like something's going to happen, that you're seeing it or you're too close to it. You can actually ask your angels to step in and say, "Hey, look, I really don't want to be involved in this accident," and they will. I've actually had it happen to me where I saw this guy coming at me on the highway, and it was freezing rain, and I was panicking because my car was facing him and he was coming toward me. And I just went, "Please, please, can you help me?" And they turned my car around. And it was something pushed my car out of the way. So that's how instant it is.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell you about one angel that I find fascinating.
Please.
Her name is Angel Ariel. I don't know if you've heard of her. She works with animals. So if you have an animal that's not well, you can call in Angel Ariel to actually help that animal to heal.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. There's also, have you heard of Angel Freya?
I have.
He's relatively new to Earth, is my feeling.
Okay.
And he actually, if someone is abusing an animal, you can call in Freya to help them to stop that person from being abusive.
Wow.
So it's kind of like they help in every aspect of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of encourage people not to be afraid to ask.
It's funny. It's funny you mention about your own guardian angel helping you in situations with accidents, for instance. I have mentioned that to a number of people I've read. I've said, you recently nearly had an accident involving a car, blah, 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 or a fall. Yeah. Well, you didn't succeed in that because of your guardian angel. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. Restaurants for me are the big connection. And we were at dinner in London. I was down in London on the weekend doing some other work outside of this. And the waitress, I think I read her for about an hour, and I just went on, and I told her about her own angel as well. So I don't want to interrupt and steal all the limelight because you're the guest here today.
That's
you're
okay.
The star
it's
of
wonderful.
The show. But I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So how do angels and spirit guides typically communicate with us? What signs or sensations should someone look for?
Well, first off, angels have never incarnated. There have been a couple that have incarnated on Earth, but angels come from source, so they're pure love. They do not have free will. I mentioned that earlier. Whereas your guides know pain, right? They've lived on this planet. They know love. They know happiness and all these lovely things. So they are more in tune to maybe what you might need at a moment if you're going through a very hard time. So let's say, for example, there is different energy. Angels are lighter. I don't know if you've noticed that, Doug. Like their energy feels kind of lighter.
It does, yeah. And spirit's much heavier.
Yes.
And at least that's what I find. Yeah.
No, you're right. No, it's okay. But also I find that when I'm working with something that, let's say I'm having a no good, very bad day, I will call in both. I call in my guides, angels, please help me get through this. And sometimes when we're really going through a hard time, which we all do have in this life, I'll say, can you help me get through this with ease and grace? Amazing what happens. It just seems to flow. It's almost like the door's open to where you need to get to. And sometimes people will say to me, oh, well, my mother is my guardian angel. And I kind of have to say, no, she's your guide. She's helping you. But your angels are totally different.
Yeah.
And angels also, they seem to work faster, if that makes sense. Like you can kind of feel their energy a little bit faster than guides. Mm-hmm. And guides, I think because we have free will, have to let us make our own mistakes to a certain degree too, or heal or move forward. They're there for us, but they can't do it. They would like to, but they can't do it for us. And I kind of feel that when we ask them, it's sort of like they know what's going to happen. So they got to step back maybe. And that's okay too.
That's great.
Yeah. Wow. I do just wonder because I think we all experience this a little bit differently. And especially as it pertains to maybe like angels versus spirit guides or anything kind of in between even, there's so many times where, people think that they're imagining things, right? And they're thinking, oh no, there's no way. Absolutely not. It could not have happened. Or I'm seeing something, or I'm just so tired. I'm delirious, or whatever that looks like. How can we? Or I guess specifically, how do you help clients or even just people that you meet trust their intuitive instincts and trust in their experiences?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Angie. Because if the person's not open, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You can only, like they say, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that happen with quite a few readings that I've done, and I actually see or smell sometimes their family. Actually, angels can come through in a smell as well. I thought that was pretty cool too. One time I thought, why do I keep smelling flowers around you? And then I heard it was that person's guardian angel, and it was a smell like vanilla, but that person, they needed that. It was for them. So if you can't help a person, I actually, what I'll say to them is, could you at least choose to pay attention to the universe? Just choose to open up a little wee bit, because you're here today. You must have come today for a reason. And I like the word choose, because then it allows spirit to come in rather than say try. So I just learned this about a year ago. Try and the universe is lie. And I went, oh man. And we all say try. Well, I'm going to try. Well, you often see people it doesn't work out for them trying. So I actually encourage people to say choose. And even with working with angels, so animals may come through too. I got to bring this up. I've had many, many animals. I don't know if you've had that come through in readings where the person, they actually cry more sometimes for the animal.
Oh, yeah.
Than their family. And I have to tell you this one story. I was doing a reading for two sisters, and I could hear glumping. I don't know, that's the best word I can think of a running dog, a glumping big dog. And I thought, what is that noise? And it was a Great Dane. And the Great Dane ran up, and the dog had passed, ran up and sat between the two sisters, and I could see the dog's tongue hanging out. And I said to them, did you have a Great Dane? Oh my goodness. Well, that was the end of that. They cried for like 5 minutes. But so spirit can come in many ways.
Yeah.
And if you can help people to open their mind, there's a saying that if you can trust in me for like a speck of salt, in the universe, then that's opened a door. And I really feel if we can help people that way. And that's how angels are. They're standing there. Sometimes I'll say, your angels are all unemployed. Please start working with them. So it's to get them to be relaxed and actually admit that maybe they do need some help. Wow. But again, you can't force them. I know, I'm sure you have that as well. I'd love to, but no, can't do that.
I find that the same all as well. Is like you said, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And people that sit down with either a negative outlook or of a negative block, I mean, come on, tell me what I'm thinking. Let me think. No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You need to stay open as well as I do. So it's a two-way channel. So my question to you is, you identify as a starseed, is that correct?
Yes.
So can you explain what that means for you and how that identity shows up in your healing work?
I have to be really honest, I don't do much healing work anymore. I used to do it. It was very draining. And I felt that I was not serving people to the best for them. So I stopped doing it only because it would take me days sometimes to recover, because it was called integrated energy therapy. And that's what Stephen Thayer teaches. So what he said is we're helping people get issues out of their tissues. But what I do now is I kind of do it when I'm doing the reading. I give them, because I'm an oracle as well, I give them tools, homework. So that helps them to do their own healing work. So it's a kind of a backdoor way of doing it.
Fair enough.
And I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat the question again. I kind of went on a tangent there.
That's okay. I just asked how you identify as a starseed. Can you explain what that means for you and how that identity shows up in your work, whatever, because it's not just about healing, right? No. Well, maybe it is. It's just not healthcare.
Right. Words are spells, I always say too. So I am a starseed. I actually had a reading from a lady who actually told me I was a starseed. She does, that's what her main thing is. And if you're born on certain days, like 25, 26, 27 of a month, that's one indicator that you're a starseed. And starseeds are souls that come from the other side of the universe. who choose to have an incarnation on Earth. So we're basically extraterrestrials, if you wish, who choose to have this incarnation on Earth for a soul growth. So, as you know, we're all here about soul growth and learning. And so a lot of them, there's lineups of starseeds waiting to come to this planet just to learn. And Doug, it's really interesting. Little wee children now, more and more starseeds coming to the planet.
Well, we've talked in a lot of, again, past episodes that children are so open. They're more open than adults, I find, anyways. They're like that blank, open channel of communication that they can see, they can hear, they can, they end up engaging more than, adults, I find, anyways. So.
Yeah. Well, and starseeds, when I recognize a starseed, sometimes you see them. You can see their energy as a starseed. You go, oh boy, you've had a life in, with the Pleiadians or with the, Arcturians. And so there's many, many different types of starseeds on the planet. I actually come from the bird tribe. So there's not a lot of birds on the planet, if you will. Because they're kind of shy, but they're protectors. We all work within the council. I know that. I know that a lot of us are coming to the planet to help the planet change its energy, help humans change. If we're all human, I know that. But if I can help someone in a reading to change even a little bit for their own health, their own self-well-being, I think that to me, my job is done. I love helping people.
Great.
And starseeds, I think you're going to see more and more. Definitely. They come in as pure souls, these little ones. They're pure. They're just amazing. And they know things. And they go, how do you know that already? Yeah. So, yeah.
Very interesting.
That's so interesting. I love experiencing anything new in terms of intuitive gifts, energies. Like, this is just, I'm really living for this while I'm just sitting here listening. But we chatted actually on our previous episode for our roundtable. We were experiencing at the time quite a bit of retrograde going on in the world right now, and things are getting a little crazy. But right now we're also gearing up for supermoon as well. And I noticed a big shift today in some intensely heightened emotions. We've been getting closer to big dreams, really big intuitive pulls. And so, we all experience, anyone intuitive will experience, anyone in general is going to experience this. But I would love to hear how, maybe from your perspective, how maybe a supermoon like is happening currently can impact our ability to receive spiritual messages or tap into our intuition. And maybe are there any specific practices you recommend during this time?
Stare at the moon. No, I'm kidding. If you can. Often that's what I'll do. It's almost like it pulls you in, that energy. It's a Gemini moon, and I have Gemini rising, so I kind of feel like I'm all over the place. I was looking at it last night, and I know it wasn't quite a full moon, but it's magical. And part of helping people, I feel, Angie, is that if you can even get them to step out of their own way for a minute and just breathe and say, how am I feeling at this moment, this very present moment? You know that saying, right? Yesterday is the past, tomorrow is your future, today is the present. And so when I talk to people a lot about the feeling that you get, so just stand in that. Why can't we just stand and just enjoy what's going on in that very moment? And that is peace. That moment, that second, to me, is peace. And I encourage people to do that, whether it's a full moon or not. But we were driving out west last year when it was a full moon, and I felt it go through my body. I thought, holy. So some moons do that. Yes. Sometimes cranky. I have a cranky moon in Cancer, so like that. I don't know. I think everybody's individual. There's a lot I would say to people is just take that few minutes and just be. And trust your own intuition. Isn't that where it's about? Trust your gut.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, if you also feel that when you tell people that, sometimes they go, well, that's hokey. Well, it might be, but maybe if you take that second and just be. That would be my message to people.
I love that. It's so important to really sit in everything and to lean on your own instincts. Like my dad mentioned, like if you're not open, then, and like you said, if you're not open, you cannot receive. Right. So the minute you open up, and I've experienced this with friends and other family members that, oh, I could never, I don't have these gifts and I could never. And then the more they're around it and the more comfortable they get with even just discussing things or hearing stories or hearing, or even experiencing me, my fiance, she definitely has really opened up during our time together because she's seen me have interactions and experience things and I've had, you got to talk to people. And I've told her about, what's going on, or I'm feeling, something overwhelming, or a spirit's here, or I'm seeing someone here, or, this is coming through. And I got to tell this waitress, I'm sorry. I got to pause date night. I got to tell her I can't help it. And now she's even starting to experience her own intuition really starting to fire up. And she's been able to say, I have this feeling that's happening and I think something's going to happen. I'm like, okay, go with it, trust it, lean into it. And it's just really beautiful what can happen when we open ourselves up and we're ready to receive any of that, even just baseline energy.
Well, I have a very quick story. You reminded me. So my husband is not open to this. At least he wasn't. And his best friend passed away. So he was saying, I've been thinking about Lauren lately. And we were in our bathroom. It was just happened to be there. And I said, well, he's standing behind you, because I saw the guy. And he goes, oh, come on, Susie. I'm not into this stuff. And I put my hands on my hips and I said, you don't believe me. He goes, oh, no. I said, oh, you don't. I said, he's standing right here. And I was shaking my finger at him. I said, and he said, he is going to come through to you. And my husband's name is Brian. Brian goes, well, he better come through because I'm as thick as a bag of hammers. So anyway, and I said, well, he said, you're not going to miss it. So for a week, Brian's walking around the house and nope, nothing going on. And it was a Thursday and he was sitting and his phone rang. And he said, hello. And he said he could hear this static, but a very loud static. And he goes, hello. And then he heard a woman's voice say, hi, Brian, it's Melanie. Can we go for a coffee? And he goes, hello, who is this? Who is it? And the static was so loud it hurt his ears. And then the phone went dead. And he doesn't know a Melanie and he doesn't drink coffee. He thought that was weird. But something told him, this is spirit, look at your call log. Now, Lauren had passed away 6 years before. And he had been waiting for a heart for 11 years, so he never got it. And he looked at his phone, and on where it says the phone number, he looked there, it said Lauren Maddow, work one. And I thought Brian was going to fall out of his chair because he said, I still get shivers when I think of that. So Lauren had manipulated that phone just to get his attention. So, anyway, I just thought I'd end with that because I thought it was such a true statement to what Angie was saying too.
Absolutely.
Well, as we get into what you've just told us, a couple of stories, without naming names, has there been a client experience that left a deep impression on you? Something that reminded you of the power of this work?
Yes. Actually, it was a very good friend of mine. She was driving home and she was tired at the end of the day. And she was coming up to an intersection and she had a green light. But the guy coming up on the opposite of her, so that would be to her right, was not slowing down. And she knew he was going to hit her. She said, and she just yelled to her angels, angels, please, I do not want to die today. And he T-boned her really, really bad. But she lived. A lady in a car beside her jumped out of her car and ran over and couldn't believe that she was alive. And she goes, oh my God, I have to tell you, I saw an angel put its wings around your car. Now, this woman had no reason to see this. And here was my friend. Now she can't work because of other physical things that happened because of that accident, but she's alive today because that angel protected her car.
Wow.
So that changed a lot in my head because I do a lot of driving.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. That, like, just sitting in that and experiencing that. I know, like I mentioned, I really lean heavily more into energy work, and I experience these moments of warnings and experiences. And I often ask for just like, tell me just what is it that I'm looking for or trying to figure out, or what can I figure out, but to feel that connection and that safety there is so incredible and massive, and that's what I do love about this is it is beyond us. It's beyond what is right here, right now, and opening ourselves up to that incredible step beyond, and opening our eyes and opening our thoughts and feelings around it, and being able to accept that sometimes things happen that we can't control, and sometimes things happen that maybe we can ask for a little bit of guidance or help on. I really strongly believe in choices, and I know my dad does as well. We can change the news based off of the choice that we make, right? But we can also make things turn out for the better, a little bit beyond what maybe that standard choice might look like. I know. Please go.
Actually, sometimes I think we have to go through the bad.
Yeah.
In a way, to make us stronger and to help us open up more to spirit, to realize that, wow, by me going through this, I've now gone a different path, and it's a much better path. Like you didn't get the job, or the marriage broke up, or whatever. And it's really, even today, I was thinking about that. Like 20 years ago, if someone had told me I'd be doing this work, I would have laughed them out of the room. And it was just a different change, a different road that I took, or that I'm sure we all take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
They really do. I really have to believe in that. And I've had many conversations with people and with therapists, and let's not put too much emphasis on things happen for a reason. I'm like, no, I have to. This is how I live my life, and a door closes, another door opens. We are an accumulation of the choices that we make, and that sets us on certain paths, and that sets us up for certain great things and other not so great things. But we learn from every single experience that we go through. And I've noticed lately that I've been, with all of this different planetary alignment, I've been having some fog, but also some openness, a little bit more intensity around things. And I'm reading without wanting to read necessarily. And I'm having much more heightened emotions, like I mentioned before. But because of it, I'm kind of seeing like common themes occurring because I'm reading a little bit more frequently. And there's a lot of questions that are coming up and a lot of similarities and overlap. So I was just wondering if maybe lately you're noticing any collective patterns, so to speak.
Well, it's interesting because part of what it is, I don't know if you know Dolores Cannon, if you've followed any of her work. You got to look this lady up. She's amazing. But she talks about how we are living many lives at once. And sometimes, like deja vu, she said that we're actually walking into another life that we're living at that exact moment. And that's been happening. Like, okay, that makes sense now. Understanding that. And you know how you were saying you're reading more and different things? That opens us up. And I feel that right now with the energy of the planet, people are actually starting to go, I think there's more to this than what I've been seeing. And even just feeling, someone goes, I don't feel right today. What is that? And I always say, pay attention to it. And I find for myself too, I've been kind of crabby lately. And I think, what is that? What's going on here? And sometimes you can't put your finger on it, but you know that the universe is sort of saying, okay, tweak it here, go over this way, or go over that way, or look here, look there, or maybe learn something from or someone else's perspective. Sitting down with someone, isn't that nice, Angie, when you meet somebody and you go, oh my goodness, this was so wonderful. I just didn't realize that part of another way of learning. And that's what I find I do. I don't like to talk. I'm not a I do, but I don't. I like to learn and hear. I would rather hear what someone has to say maybe than saying it. And I think that that's important for me anyway, in the work I do. And I like getting to meet people and just like, what do you like? Where are you going in your life? Where's it going? And that's what a reading to me is. It's a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's wonderful what holding space can do.
Yeah.
And Susan, in a world that's so fast-paced and I guess overwhelming, what are your go-to grounding practices for staying spiritually centered?
Okay, well, I am a Taurus, so I go and stand outside if I can. So I really have to be. I'm a gardener. I love to garden. I like water. If I really get stressed, I meditate. Definitely, that helps a lot. Sometimes just talking to someone, talking to your spouse or a friend can really, really help too, because it's a different perspective. And when I get really overwhelmed, I go to sleep. I'm going to go to bed early because it just kind of helps me to, I think, just wake up with a different perspective.
Yeah.
Have you been having weird dreams? Like I've been having strange dreams lately.
I'm laughing because I agree. There's days that lately it's been much like that as well. So what advice would you give to someone who feels called to this work, but they're afraid of judgment or imposter syndrome?
Well, I have to tell you, I would say just do it anyway.
Just do it.
Because if this is really where you truly feel your path is, we never miss our destiny, do we? And if you're going to do it from your heart space. Do it from be honest. If you're not going to be authentic within yourself, I don't think you can do this work. I really feel you have to have that that you're doing your own work, for one. And secondly, that you love what you do. I always say when you love what you do, it isn't work. And I know that there are people who imposter syndrome do it anyway. If you're called to do it, so what? Just keep moving forward. You're going to find your people. You're going to find, your tribe of where you're going to be able to go and explore. And I believe move forward. That's what I would say to someone.
That's incredible. I feel the overlap in earth signs here. I'm a Virgo and my fiance is a Taurus, which we should not work the way that we work.
Yeah.
but I definitely feel that push, that automatic drive, like just listen, throw it out, do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Fake it till you make it if you have to. If you are meant to do something, it's very crucial that you do that thing. And
it might be doing something as simple as someone's nails.
Yes.
I want to do someone's, then do it. But why not? What's the worst that could happen? Then what's the best that could happen? And when people realize it, because they sometimes have blinders on, I'll often say, if you can take those blinders off a little and do it, look what might happen for you in your life. You may be happier. And I don't know, Angie, if you find it, and Doug, so many people are not happy in their jobs right now.
Oh, yeah.
So many people. And I don't tell them to quit their job, but I say do something on the side that you love. And that might make your job a little bit easier, at least. Yeah.
I like to call myself the queen of the toggle because I love to be very malleable. And if I'm not enjoying something, or, I run my own business and I love what I do. I really, truly love it. I finally feel like I'm on the right track with everything that I'm doing within it. But the minute something pops up where I'm like, this isn't working great, just toggle, be malleable, be fluid. You can flow through ebbs and flows of life. You can flow through work too. There's no cookie cutter. And I'm very fortunate to have incredible parents that taught me to step outside the box, and, there's that obviously incredible intuitive side with my dad that has been fantastic for that. But also he's one to trust, what he feels, and he's one to chase after things too. So I like to think I got some drive and determination there. But you gotta really lean into what feels right and don't be afraid to dream and don't give up on the dream. Even if it's an inkling of a dream, go through with that. So,
But sometimes people feel it's got to be a big thing and
yes,
explosive. And, the small little baby steps add up to bigger things. And because
absolutely.
I don't think that, I don't know if you know anything about Sam Walton, who started Walmart. That guy,
Yes. Yep. Yep.
it was not a fun start for that man.
No.
But look at what happened. So little things that take those baby steps. I would encourage people to do that.
Very good.
So, Susan, where can people connect with you or learn more or maybe book a session?
Okay, so angelicsynergy12.com is that's my website. And you can just go in there. It's very boring. I always say to people, it's a boring website, but you can connect there. And something, I want to say thank you for today. I've really enjoyed meeting you both, Doug first before, but you, Angie. And I kind of feel it was interesting when Doug phoned today. It was 333 when he called earlier. And I said, oh, there's your angel number.
The best numbers.
Totally. Because we didn't even talk about numbers, but angels and numbers, definitely there's a connection. Oh, yeah. And I think that they help us in so many ways, even from that perspective. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I wanted to say thank you.
Completely.
Well, we want to thank you, Susan, for joining us today. Really, truly, it was a wonderful experience. And I want to also thank all our listeners so much for tuning into this beautiful conversation with Susan Barry-Howland. If something sparked your curiosity or touched your heart today, take a moment to sit with it. Reach out to your guides, ground yourself in your practices, and know that the universe is always communicating in signs, synchronicities, and soul whispers. And as always, until next time, stay open, stay curious, and trust what you feel.